Lightning Boltz, Episode 7, The Standard Habbie. The Standard Habbie. The Standard Habbie by Robbie burns its way through my subconscious in my writing often lobbies to be the form, and in my recent poetry I've let it worm in how I structure most of my verse, a rigid, strange form of a curse, gently flowing, also terse and so succinct. Rhythm, meter, rhyme, and twist are all contained. So, what is the Standard Habbie? Rhyme goes A, B, 3 lines, 4 steps, iambically, but then just twice. 4-4, 4-2, 4-2, you see. It just feels nice. It rattles perfect round the brain. It's starting at a gallop's pace. Where will we move in this refrain? And then a pause. A shift. A very subtle change within the clause. A form I love and will explore. I bring you in to share this joy. Half rhymes and ugly feet and all. No half measures. A podcast that explores one form. It's my pleasure. Initial attempts. At 6 o'clock, the blazing dawn will burst in through my curtains drawn, and land upon my sleeping form, and slap my face. Despite my long, persistent yawns, I am awake. I scramble out my scruffy bed, shake off my recent nightmares dread, but images within my head relive the feel. My sleepy brain is loud, protests that it was real. There was residing in that dream a mote of truth that one could see was more than mere anxiety that I have kept and twisted into simile while I had slept. There's something deep that gnaws at guts, that tells me that I'm out of luck, that I am well and truly fucked, without recourse. The reapers seeking out my blood, without remorse. But by this time the kettle's boiled, the toaster's popped, and I've recoiled into the busy trial and toil called day to day. I let the nightmares that I mulled just slip away. Fragment. There knelt a stoic, solemn knight, who found himself a lonely plight. Although he truly wished to fight, he had to yield. His sword, out of reach but not of sight, he could not wield. The Warlords of Greater Stevenage. The Lords of Greater Stevenage, kit out with gangland vestiges, drank caffeinated beverages from coloured cans. Warlords in name alone, these kids were barely lads. Not one of them, past 20-odd, spat out from London, Peterborough, ran cross-county schemes for blokes with cash to spare, but then jettisoned, left them broke. They settled here. In Stevenage, a former gem of industry for drugs and bombs, making weapons all day long, had ceased its trade. No need for faculties of war when peace holds reign. So factories sat gathering dust, defence companies all went bust. To one wee lord could trust his guts and looked inside. They'd left munitions there to rust, to his surprise. And so he ran back to the lords to tell them about this precious hoard. There's loads, enough to start a war with anyone. Potential, the warlords saw. Let's have some fun. The warlords chose the dead of night to climb the rusting factory gate, clipped the lock and found a crate, and with a grin, the contents in a pristine state they found within. There's ammo, camo, guns galore, from Desert Eagles to MP4s, a pistol, rifles fit for war, a few grenades. and then something huge in a box put out the way. The lords of Stevenage's land found buried in a box of sand and straw a thing that could go bang. Not nuclear, but enough to hatch a plan spectacular. They carted the things back to their homes in backpacks and their wheelbarrows. The warhead kept at the abode of Douglas Finch. He was considered head honcho if in a pinch. Next afternoon, they all ventured to the Stevenage town centre, where there was a water feature built for the town by an artist and a teacher of some renown. Not that these warlords really cared for who had built this town of theirs. The only thing they had prepared was to destroy. But this prison held them in despair, these war-torn boys. They dunk the warhead in the drink, the fountain where it starts to sink, and hurriedly the bomb is linked up to the fuse, a big red button far away where they can view. Warlords gather at a distance. They thought that water resistance may subdue the blast's persistence, but they were wrong. It blew most things out of existence. The blast was strong. The water erupted. Big splash. Took out Barclays, floating cash, museums gone, the buildings smashed, and eyebrows scorched. The war lad's eyes no longer flashed, saw what they'd wrought. The lords of war begin to scarper. The wailing sirens spurn them faster. They are now their own masters, without a home. Now grown, the Stevenage bastards will not return. They're out there now, their reach expands. They spurred to act out madder plans. In rearview mirrors their old town they called the home. Now rubble made by their own hands, their greatest foe. Ghost Clown.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
The inimitable Chandler Bing winces and contorts with cringe as his poor old ears start to ring, and his old love comes to sweep him into her arms like a bear's hug. He tries to get away, he squirms. He's found love with another girl, the one he found across the pond, his friend's sister, the one who at some point dated the Burt Reynolds. Excuses pour from off the page and out his mouth as he portrays the sarcastic charming oaf on stage at WB and makes his millions by the minute in every scene. I've watched this man for half my life. His drag queen mother, OCD wife, undiagnosed of course, because at the time madness is large. You follow him when tapes rewind into the dark. The trailer at production lots strewn with bottles, pills and pot that sink the actor's stomach as Matthew tries to keep the Chandler at the top, to keep his guys. I'm watching now in my mid-30s this fellow younger clown. I can see through Hollywood glitz and glam. I think I see the dark and muddy. I think I finally see the man. Past cellophane and fame, past cellulose and celluloid. The man who barely standing up. The man who's wishing for the void. Behind sight and some parasociality, he's living in the land of plenty, which corrupts the corpse ever so gently, and so does time. So season 1 to 10 we see Matthew's decline. Would I observe, if never told, about how the clown unfolds? That going too tough to be known, medicated, into barbiturates he groans, compensated. When is the laughter not enough? When does it fall upon deaf ears? When does it fail to fill the hole like Derrida's student on the screen I can behold? A ghost by any other name, a clown, a maker of mirth. Rest well, rest deep, a man who brought some joy to earth. Was that technically a standard Habbie? How about you shut the fuck up? Death of the author. Stirring coffee without a spoon It meant to look around the room to find a tool that could resume the act of stir. This spoonless dolt, this daft baboon, this amateur. They picked the first thing in their path, a fountain pen for autographs, and dunked the poor thing in the bath of caustic brew. He dipped nib first, the psychopath, and mixed the two. They never should have let them meet, that when ink and coffee greet, combined unholy monsters seep unto the page, to conjure words from cortex deep upon the stage. Though coffee is a writer's friend, let us not try to pretend that using it to meet your ends is ever good. Performance-enhancing drug bends are understood to be the last resort of hacks, a last hurrah in their packs, when deadlines loom and pants are shat, a spent advance stops the word bitch in their tracks, a final chance to get the story out their heads, to put it on the page instead, to siphon the last of their dread into the book, to give back in its humble stead what writing took. The editor is on the phone, says 50,000 words are owed. He needs them to send the tome, like yesterday. With the editor's continued moans, the author prays. Now we find this situation. Ink and coffee's dark concoction spurns the writer on his vision quest of sorts, to find narrative conclusions for clocks reach naught. The talk must always reach its tick. The evening turns, the candles lit. The writer writes and stands and sits and paces the room. Sits back down to paper bits. They'll be done soon. They've done it! They proselytize and yell, "It's done! The money's mine!" But the inky coffee finds the vein that leads to heart. There is a cost to win this prize. The writer starts. The storyteller clutched their chest. The inky coffee finally pressed the battle to the writer's breast and then retired. Their heartbeat had been suppressed, so they expired. And as they're buried, don't despair. The editor's counting out their share and throws it on the coffin bare before it's gone. And we can interpret that book of theirs just how we want. You get it, because it's like a literal death of the... Anyway, you've been listening to The Lightning Bottler. You've heard a selection of poems, all in standard Habbie. Come back at some point and there'll be more Lightning Bottlers, maybe, who knows. This is a very sporadic show. And if you haven't heard it already, give us a bell and maybe you'll find Miss Shipton as well. Goodbye.